Hello artists, in this video I am going to show you how to make your own blob creatures for an emotion. This was inspired by a lesson that I did online with Carla Sondheim a couple weeks ago. While I was making my own blob creatures, I was listening to a mindfulness podcast and I learned some information about your brain. When we are upset or have a strong emotion or even a positive emotion, this is the part of our brain that is functioning and most active. And this is the part of our brain that makes good decisions. This part is not active when we have emotions happening. So we need to move from this part to this part of our brain when we're upset. Otherwise, we might make bad choices and have a lid flip. So one way that we can do that is by recognizing the emotion. Turns out that science says that if we just identify the emotion, we recognize it, name it, and so on, we can go from here to here, and we suddenly make better choices. I'm going to show you how to do that in this video through art.
Common feel-good emotions include love, pride, and laughter or happiness. Not all emotions make us feel good, such as frustration, anger, and confusion. To begin this project, I am going to choose one emotion. I am choosing frustration because oftentimes when we're making art, it doesn't quite turn out the way that we want the first time, and that can lead to frustration. I painted the blob on the paper, but now I'm trying to get it to move around by tilting it, maybe if I tap on it. Neither of those are working. Instead of getting frustrated though, I'm going to smear it around with a stick. That's pretty interesting. I think that works for a blob. Next, I clean up my brush and maybe add another color. I'm going to add purple because that goes well with it. I'm going to smear that around as well and let it dry. Next, I have to turn it in multiple directions to figure out what my blob wants to be. I think this wants to be an elephant. I see two legs at the bottom, a trunk. I could draw in a tail and an ear. I'm just going to add those details. I took an online art making session with artist Carla Sondheim a few weeks ago, and she said pretty much anything can be turned into an elephant or a bird. For a bird, you just give it a beak. Once you've got the animal established, continue adding details like eyes, ears, and anything else that helps establish it as a certain emotion. Next, I need to name my emotion. I'm naming this one Percy the Perfectionist. Next time I'm making art and I'm frustrated with the way that it looks, instead of giving up, I'm going to recognize that that's Percy, the perfectionist in me. Now it's your turn. Pick a color that goes well with an emotion that you felt recently. Put a blob of it on your paper. Maybe add a second color if you wish, one that goes well with it. You can try smearing it around with your finger or use the stick that I used with my first blob. You can also add more liquidy paint, then move it around by turning your paper or blowing on it or blowing it with a blow dryer. When you have an interesting blob, stop and let it dry. Now turn your paper each direction and see which way you are able to see something. Again, pretty much anything can be a bird or an elephant. What should I turn this blob into? Is it a bird or an elephant or something entirely different? And what emotion should it represent? Video by Tara Gary. Inspiration for blob creatures, Carla Sondheim. Mindfulness practice adapted from Tara Brock and Diana Winston. Music by Chris Hagen.